I don't forget. Well, thank you everybody for coming tonight. We have an incredible call with the women of VoxxLife tonight. This is a group that many women have put together over the last years. And sorry, I'm gonna have to mute everybody. Just bear with me until I can get somebody.
Hey, Paul, if you want to make me co-host, then I can look after muting people if you'd
like.
like.
Sure, buddy. I was looking for you there earlier, and then when you have music on and all the different screens.
I hear
there
you.
We go. There we go. So you should be
perfect.
there now. Okay, awesome. So yeah, we really appreciate everyone coming on here. I want to get this also on the recording. We were just talking just briefly before this is I went in the testimonials group and I actually just looked at, how many people are women and men. And I didn't even mean to see it. I just was kind of going into the back kind of stats on the group to see the growth and how many members and all that. And I came across an interesting stat that it's 84% women in the VoxxLife testimonials group. Congratulations. You guys are obviously the fuel that lights the fire here. And we have a ton of work to do to help more and more people. I don't want to take a lot of time. I really want to just roll this over to the ladies that are going to be speaking tonight and sort of explaining what they've been doing. They have this Peace Patch project. I know nothing about this. I'm excited. It's nice to hear from other people and what's happening and what they're doing, and we certainly appreciate that. So Candy Scott from Calgary, we have Lori from Brantford, and I've forgotten where Tracy is from, but I believe it's close to the office. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for coming on. You should be able to unmute yourself, and if you guys just want to roll with this and explain what's going on and what's happening, and that would be awesome.
Okay, well, I'll do the intros if I may, Paul, and I'd like to thank you and Terry for all the work that you guys do, because it's kind of a mutual admiration society. I think you guys are amazing, and when I think back to all the years that we've put in together, locking arms and bringing this technology to the masses, I have to smile. We've had laughs, we've had tears, we've had fury, we've had excitement. It's kind of a mixed bag. But it certainly has been a rich experience, and it's been a growing experience. And the Women of VoxxLife is just a little safe space for the ladies to kind of come together and to share ideas. And ladies like to come around each other and kind of nurture each other. And so there's not really a competitive edge to the ladies group at all. It's just a kind of soft landing sort of place. We talk once a week on a Zoom call, and we really find that it's a place of encouragement and inspiration. And so Candy, I've been after her for years to, bring what she has to the table. And I've always admired Candy and Tracy and all of the ladies, really. They all have something special about them that contributes to the mission. So Candy had this brainchild called the Peace Patch Project, and it just really resonated. There's a lot of bits to the Peace Patch Project, but very simply, it was an invitation for people to try the Peace Patch and then share what happened with it. And so I'm going to turn it over to Candy, and then Tracy Lalonde is going to offer some of her thoughts and experiences with this initiative that we came up with to just get engagement and really to get experience and stories with how this particular piece of technology is working for us in the context of a very stressful world. So are you there, Candy?
Yeah, Lori, I'm here.
Excellent.
Good evening, everyone. How lovely to see so many happy, smiling, familiar faces. Yes. And I just want to take a special moment. I have a new associate who's joined us here on Team Vaccination tonight for the first time. Brand new associate. So hello to Susan Simmons. And I was fortunate enough to have a guest reach out. Patty Eady, I just want to say hello to you. And we've been following each other on Facebook for years. And I was so appreciative when she noted my post and reached out and said, hey, I think I'd like to know more. So it's really cool to have you both here and everyone, all you familiar faces. So yeah, that's, the the Peace Patch Project. It was the seed of an idea that grew because lots of people talk about comfort zones and how you should get out of them. And I have a slightly different opinion, and Women of VoxxLife has provided that space for us. I have often thought that a comfort zone is the place to nurture and grow yourself. And I'm a big believer in not necessarily breaking down the fences or jumping over them. I'm a big believer in when the plants or the women or we've flourished and we've grown so much, all we need to do is move our fences back. So our comfort zone can also be a growth zone. And when it comes to stress, if you're not comfortable in your comfort zone, how on earth are you going to jump out of that and accomplish anything else? So that's where the Women of VoxxLife has just been a real special place for people. And we've seen them. Thank you, Lori, for inviting me to do more here. And I said to you once that if ever I felt like I had something important that I wanted to share, I would speak up. And this one really resonated with me. So chronic stress was definitely an experience in my life. So the inception of the Peace Patch resonated with me so deeply. So just for the new ones who don't maybe know my backstory a little bit, I guess I'm a little bit of a veteran in VoxxLife. I've been here for one month shy of 6 years. So I guess that makes me a veteran. I qualify for my old age pension, so that makes me a senior in something. So I started January 2017. My state of mind and physical reality at that time was chronic pain, deep sadness, and chronic stress. Life changed when I was introduced and committed to using the VoxxLife technology every day. So I want to thank Debbie Brander for bringing me on board. Brenna Bover, Sandy Dolan, you ladies were also instrumental in getting that seed nourished and planted. So committing to this technology wasn't hard. It was the easiest, simply the easiest lifestyle change I'd ever made. It was very affordable when in comparison, the amount that I had spent on other modalities and therapies and things to try and mitigate and manage my health in a way. I knew there could be more. So it was safe, it was drug-free, it worked, and I have looked forward to every advancement in this technology eagerly. Every time Jay says, I've got a surprise for you, it's just like, whoa, I can't wait. And we know there's going to be more. Like, it's just hang on to your hats. Don't get comfortable, because this is the one place that it's okay to jump over the fence and embrace that eagerly, because Jay is coming up with great things. So at the point where I was in 2017, as Lori Dawson would say, it was not my mess, but it was the launch point to my success. So with neurotechnology, I experienced pain relief, vitality, mobility, balance, strength, functional well-being, and emotional resilience. That's a big thing. I discontinued the mega doses of over-the-counter pain meds and some of the prescription pain meds that I had to take to manage pain in my life. So my body and mind were both vastly improved, and that was important to me, as stress at that time was the thief of joy. And my cognitive function had been declining. Stress, too, is the thief of cognitive function. And I think that's something that, just looking around at the crowd here, there's a lot of us over 40 and even more over that. So that's something we want to pay attention to. And my transformation continues. So today I'm enjoying life fully thanks to my commitment to wearing the tech consistently. I'm healthy, I'm mobile, I'm happy, I'm grateful for all the functional improvements. There are things to be managed for sure, but everything I do is just easier with this tech as a full-time aid in my life. So I had also recovered in record time from a second knee replacement using our technology. And my knee replacement was done at about the time the joint replacement study was being wrapped up in Toronto. So I'd been in conversations with Ron Hoover, and I was excited for that. And I was interviewed by Dr. DeBrincat about my experience for one of the the practitioner calls, and it mirrored exactly what was happening in the knee study. So when that came out, I went, been there, done that, guys. I already know what's happening. We got this made, and it's going to be great. So how do I know it was a record recovery? Because my first one was in 2014, and I didn't have VoxxLife then. I did not have it. So the difference in the time of recovery, mobility, and pain control was absolutely astonishing. So that's why I get excited about each new iteration of tech. And in August of 22, now we get the super patches, the latest evolution in the tactile and targeted neural technologies. So of course we'd had Defend and Harmony and some of the others, but this was like a big deal. 8, now 9 new technologies and more on the way. So much to be excited about. So, and we'd already reached 6 million people. I think it's almost 6 million people with socks and insoles. And now here we have more. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. But when my super patch launch pack of patches arrived and I opened up that colorful pack, I think that was the moment, the seed of the idea for my piece patches, like this beautiful, beautiful blue package just spoke to me of calm and ease. And I wasn't in a place where I wasn't calm and easeful. I was actually in a really happy place. So you might wonder, why would I be the least bit interested in working with a patch for stress when I was actually in a pretty good place? So we know the demands of the modern day lifestyle has increased exponentially, and for many it's having serious health impacts. And a simple Google search kind of scare yourself. The impacts of stress is an eye-opener. And so I immediately started wearing a piece patch daily because I got curious. I wasn't in the chronic stress place. I wasn't in the worst stressful place I'd ever been in my life. And I was curious about what kind of healing could happen if I was wearing it when I was in the good place. What if I was in the good place? What could happen? I didn't know if it could or not. Jay hasn't actually given us a presentation on the piece patch, and I'm sure one's coming. This was just my own curiosity and previous experience with the tech. So I immediately started wearing the piece patch as my own personal stress mitigation experiment. And I saw significant changes almost immediately. Now, to be clear, I have added the other patches, Flow and Focus, as well, because really, why not? There's just no reason not to. But that's a story for another time. My default response in situations, conversations that are stressful or emotionally charged or difficult is tears, especially doctors' offices, even when it's ordinary things like good news. And in those crucial conversations that are required to sort out familial or business misunderstandings, a weeping mess. It was just the way I would go. I was so frustrated by that, as I wanted to be able to communicate my message with clarity and calmness. I knew I had the intelligence and the words to do it, but my ability to communicate calmly was always hijacked by my brain. With therapy and other trauma release modalities, I understood why. During times of chronic stress, a pattern had developed. There was roots in this as far back as elementary school. And continued chronic stress during our son's cancer journey and death just made it worse. My mother's dementia diagnosis, again, another source of chronic stress. And I know something that many of you are going through as well. And even though I was in a happy, healthy frame of mind, it was my brain's default response. I swear to you, that changed within days of wearing the patch. There were a couple of things that I noticed earlier. There was just a kind of a whoosh, a sense of grounding, and a kind of, oh, I'm pretty happy. And I know those feelings because I've trained as a yoga teacher. I've done a lot of meditation. I know about the physical things that I can do to bring my body to that place of peace. It doesn't sustain. I can't sit and meditate all day long. I can always take a deep breath, and that will bring us back. So knowing that, I knew what the patch was doing for me. And I found that my disrupted sleep was improving. Now, I'm a REM patch user, have been since the beginning, absolutely 100% believe in that technology. Although it doesn't put me to sleep, it definitely improves my quality of sleep. The sleep I do get is significantly better. So, but the fact that the peace patch was allowing my mind to go calm, there wasn't this yatter, yatter, yatter that was keeping me awake. That was a pleasant surprise as well. So how did I know that it improved my response to difficult situations? A rather inconsequential familial misunderstanding came up, and as I heard it, to my great surprise, I was astonished at my newfound composure and clarity. No tears welling up, no defensiveness, no self-recriminations. I was able to listen calmly, to communicate my response, my needs, my boundaries, and the other party was able to communicate their concerns more effectively than was previously possible with me being the weeping mom standing there. So that misunderstanding resolved easily and without that post-situational self-recriminations I usually experienced. I wish I'd said that. I wish I'd done this, this kind of thing. It just didn't happen. And as I drove out of the yard that day, not in anger, I just had to go do another errand. I remember thinking to myself, wow, that was different. That was different. And I looked down at the peace patch that was on my arm, and I reached down and I touched it and I went, was that you? I think it was. And I just recognized it. I knew in that moment. Another recent awareness for me in my studies on stress is that its impact can affect the behavior called people pleasing. That can be a stress response. Maybe some of us aren't really just all nice people. Maybe there's a stress response in there that actually is about people pleasing because we're afraid of recriminations or judgment or that kind of thing. So there is a marked difference between people pleasing and acts of service. And it's helpful for all parties and healthy for all relationships to understand that difference. I'm a nice person. I want to do nice things for people, but doing things without appropriate thought for boundaries adds to chronic stress. So with the peace patch, I've found myself able to make more thoughtful choices, more thoughtful answers. When I say no, it's because it's been well thought out. And when I say yes, it's been well thought out. So that has been incredibly freeing as well. So I was excited as I'm noticing these things that have happened quickly. I was texting madly with my Vox buddies. I've got Marvel and Teresa here tonight, and we're just burning up the phone lines. And then there's Lori and Tracy, and what's happening with you? And there was just this ongoing amount of conversation happening. And then there was these ongoing reminders to, have you got your peace patch on today? As the conversations were, no, I don't, I should put it on, or maybe I should put 2 on. So, together we were learning about what's possible with this. And I wanted to expand that. I felt like we needed to expand it. Our testimonials group, I'm sure you find as helpful as I do. And we needed to be able to contribute some stories about this amazing new technology that people could connect with and could understand how it might be meaningful in their own lives. So that's kind of where the idea of, well, let's get more people involved. So I began having conversations with my dedicated VoxxLife colleagues and users. And I mean, so many of you are my wonderful cohorts in the Women of VoxxLife and beyond, but you guys were a really big part of that. And these were people who hadn't really considered using the peace patch. They were, doing things, but no, I don't really think I need that. Or they were handling it. That was a common, no, I don't think I need that. I'm handling it. Oh, I put it on that one day when I thought it was going to be stressful. And it's like, are you doing it every day? No, I'm good. I'm handling it. I was really curious about the initial resistance that some of my friends were expressing just to try it. What would be a month's worth of trying it? And I thought about that resistance, and I thought about how often that shows up when we're presenting our product to new customers. We talk about something they haven't heard before, And we know it. You've all felt it. There is, oh no, I don't need that. No, I'm pretty balanced. I don't have any pain. And you've seen them walk up with a walker. So I got curious about that resistance. And I kind of looked at that and I thought, I think if we go back, and I talked to my neuroscientist friend, Vicki Smith, and I said, what is that? What is that? And our limbic brain and amygdala, it wants to keep us safe. It really does want to keep us safe. And new things may not be safe. They may not be safe. And so oftentimes there's an instant no. There's an instant no, even when it could be the best thing for you. So I think we always want to be cognizant of that in ourselves. How often are we saying no to situations that, are not unsafe, that could be helpful to us? And I've challenged many of my friends to, I call it check your nose. And it's not like this. It's like check your nose. Why are you saying no? Is it an automatic response? And could you be saying yes? What are you missing saying yes to? So just made my nose itchy touching that. So yeah, I wanted them to check their nose. I was curious about their resistance. And so I had discussed with, many of these colleagues and friends, the circumstances that they were dealing with, and that they were handling. And by every standard, they were doing a good job. But my curiosity was still about what's possible. And by not doing something, what was the cost? Was their own mental well-being being impacted over the long term? We spoke of things like sudden losses due to death, PTSD, declining cognitive or physical health in parents, extremely busy work-life balance. We talked of family, relationship issues, school and learning stressors for their children, medical uncertainties, and there's a ton of those charts that you can look up online and start checking off your stressors. I swear it'll scare you. Anyway, they were handling it, because what choice do we have until the day we can't? But my curiosity remained, and my question: how might your mind, your body or mind, experience these same scenarios if better regulation of the stress response happened while wearing the peace patch? Could we experience less reactivity, triggering, conditioned responses, even pain relief? That's a big one. We talked a little bit about on the Women of VoxxLife call about pain. What if your people aren't having success with the freedom patch? What if their pain is actually in the emotional body? So that's something you may want to think about too. So learned behaviors and belief systems, dealing with difficult situations. Could we, if we were not so dysregulated in the areas of stress, could it be different? So I'm a certified relaxation massage therapist. I am trained to recognize changes in a body that's under stress. So my work was helping people to find and feel real ease or release in their bodies and minds. So with this knowledge, I met my friends at their place of resistance, and I provided some gentle questions about their own awareness of their stress symptoms that I was noticing in their bodies, in their voices, their conversational cues. Like oftentimes we can't see it in ourselves, and we need to reach out to other people to help us to be able to see the things that we can't, whether it's therapists, whether it's pastors, whether it's, who is the person you can reach out to help you see what you are unaware of. As we talked, I could see that a new awareness was dawning on most of them. And as Tracy Lalonde brought to us, if we celebrated ourselves first and cared for our own needs, what could that look like in all of our relationships? What if we were calm and clear and less stressed? What ripples could it have in our relationships, familial, business, community? You know what it's like when you drop a pebble in the pond and the ripple goes out. And what if you are the pebble and the ripples that you're sending out are ripples of peace and calm? So months of conversation with my co-presenters, Lori and Tracy tonight, and my Vox buddies, Marvel and Teresa and Debbie and many others. So as a collective, we decided, with the support of the amazing women of VoxxLife, we extended an open invitation to this impromptu associate created field experiment. everybody was looking for answers. Well, what does this patch do? And what does that patch do? And how does that work? And truly, there is only one way to find out, and that is to wear it. And my experience will not be your experience, but shared experiences are a body of knowledge that becomes so important as new people come to us and want to learn about things. So we've gathered weekly to share our observations and support one another, and continue and expand on an important conversation that I know Lori has really embraced with her full heart on mental wellness in all aspects of our lives. So the launch and the timing of the Peace Patch project was timely, as we officially kicked it off 1 month ago on November 10th. This is the season of peace on earth and goodwill to all. And we are painfully aware that this season of joy and celebration can be among the most stressful time. It can be equally parts happy and horrible. And if you've experienced loss of any kind, relationship disconnects or health issues, there can be many stressors in this season of peace. And we looked at the Peace Patch and said, could there be a better time to introduce this to our members and to invite the rest of our VoxxLife family into this? So this project was in the incubation stage as we were kind of learning and growing it, but we always knew it was meant to grow and expand. And very quickly, the women of VoxxLife were saying, well, what about the men of VoxxLife? And there were no rules. We weren't saying don't put it on them. Please do. Bring them in too. But we were just establishing this little foundation. So the observations and successes that have been pouring in quickly, and now we're excited for these next steps, extending the invitation to all the good people of our Super Patch and VoxxLife communities to experience and share their stories everywhere on VoxxLife testimonials, your social media, and connect. With the ladies who've been connecting our stories, we've been using the hashtag Peace Patch Project. So I don't know if there's any rules against that, Paul or Terry. Maybe you can tell us whether that's an okay thing to do. We are curious to hear all the people of VoxxLife share how you might be dealing with the stress in your life as never before, as the Peace Patch creates changes. Do you feel a resistance to giving it a try? If so, ask yourself why and reconsider. It may be more important than you know. Stress affects everyone. Let's understand that in all the ways that we can, bringing peace into our lives. We're also curious about athletes. We're wondering, is a Peace Patch useful when dealing with performance anxiety, stress, or post-game recovery? Experiences will be our teachers, and you are the communicators to the people who will have those experiences. And we look forward to those stories. And students and children, we have much to learn from their experiences. We have one beautiful story that was shared on the Women of VoxxLife call about before it was the day we were going to launch the project, and one mom popped in and said how her little guy was having a meltdown. I think it was over a backpack. And she put a Peace Patch on him, and what was it, ladies, minutes? And he was like calm. And I was like, oh my gosh, this should be in every first aid kit, in every backpack, in every kid in school, and 7 of them in the teacher's drawer. Maybe more. So wondering, how would, naturally experiencing improved clarity and calmness work for them on a daily basis? So we're here just to invite one and all to join the Peace Patch Project. We look forward to any and all updates from Jay on this fantastic piece of technology. And I'll leave you with this. I'll spare you the singing, but there's a line from a famous song I want to leave with you. All we are saying is give peace a chance. How will it look for you? That's it. Take it over, my girls. You guys have got some great stuff to add to this. So I can't wait to hear from Lori and Tracy.
Tracy, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I actually shut that down, so I've just sent you you can unmute yourself. Too many people were jumping on and I was hearing all this stuff. Sorry guys, you should be good, Lori. Thank you so much, Candy. Amazing.
Wow.
It's hard to react to something that really causes you to stop and think. And what Candy did for us tonight was invited us to just stop, breathe, and think. So many of us are going at such a pace that we don't allow ourselves the liberty of doing that. And by the way, I was one of those ones that said to Candy, I'm good, I'm handling it. So
I was not going to throw you under that bus, Lori.
full disclosure, that was me. And I'm telling you what, it was no sooner out of my mouth than did I get opportunities to put the peace patch to the test. And there's not one of us on this call that doesn't have stress of some kind. And I love the idea of you talking to the little blue patch on your arm, Candy. Was that you? Because you talked about that 4-year-old tantruming inner child of yours that you just had to take for a walk to get some air. And yeah, so this has been fun. It's absolutely been fun. One of our members of the Women of VoxxLife told us that she actually got through a day without wanting to throat punch anyone. And I thought that was just excellent. And so the gains are noticeable, whether they're big or whether they're small. But there's definitely a difference for me. Subtle some days and massive other days. But we learned at Dr. Sylvia's information event that adding the peace patch to mitigate the post-traumatic stress response, so it was a good thing. And we did that for my husband with his REM patch, and it made all the difference in the world. It was like putting the baking soda in the leaven into the bread so that it would rise. So yeah, we have to play a little bit with the combinations, but yeah, the foundation of peace is a place that we can all go to and benefit from, and not just us personally, but those we have relationships with. So yes, there's no arguing about the application of the peace patch in this house anymore, because we both felt the impact of it. So Tracy, what do you have to add, my love? She can't unmute. Help her, somebody.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find her here on the list. Just one sec. I should have done that ahead of time here.
Okay, so there's stress,
there you
right?
Go. And it's St. Catherine's. There you go.
St. Catherine's, there
yes,
you go,
yes.
Niagara.
In the house.
Okay,
yeah.
there we go. Okay, so I've got a different energy than probably going on than my dear friend Candy, because she said she doesn't live in a chronic stress space, and they're the reason I don't live in a chronic stress space. Because but this is really good. I'm really glad to be here, and I missed a little bit of what Lori was saying, but I've journeyed so much of this, right? Because I was checking my unmute. But I want to just jump. I'll share my story, but I want to jump into something really practical, because we are all building a business, right? So I want to, as much as our beautiful, passionate, foundational stories are there, we're building a business. And so what really caught me, I'm always taking notes when Candy and Lori, well, with Lori, it's usually some kind of redneck singing that I quite enjoy, but no, it's true. But scribbling notes. And so just stop for a minute. These women have become precious in my life and in my journey. They have become a part of my peace process, quite literally. And I'll tell you why, because I think it's one of your go-tos with the Peace Project, but at all. But did you hear this when she said it? When you hear a friend saying something like being with family, not being in conflict, not feeling torn apart, not in tears, whatever the stressors are, those are the things that are designed to fuel and have always fueled our business. This is just another expression of it. And I'll pull from Candy's too, because I'm always learning and listening, and that we're dealing with a default. I'm jumping kind of forward in my story a bit, but one of the things that I said this weekend, so I will pause for a minute. I've been with Vox since 2016, the fall, but I'm also now an office administrator, and I do live a chronically stressful experience. It is off the charts. So when Jay said, and the sleeve has been a game changer for me, but when the patches were coming, I thought, I need to try those. I need to try them individually. And I need that peace patch on 24/7. I could feel that need for it. But I do live in chronic stress. And so like my daughter said this morning, Candy got this rather entertaining phone call barely after she'd woken up this morning. I don't often do this, but I got into work. I'm an office admin. There was a voicemail from a person who wasn't even a customer, didn't leave their name, didn't leave their address, was telling us we should be on medication. She was going to call the police, all of this stuff. And my daughter, who works in the office with me, just said, you can tell it's been a rather crazy day at 9 a.m. when mom is pacing and talking loudly in the other room just to vent. So we have different reasons. But one of the things, but what are you making do with? What are you settling for in terms of levels of peace or stress? And in terms of the practical piece of building a business, like just what are your friends dealing with? What are they saying they can handle? What are they okay with? And it shouldn't be okay. And as a side part kind of piece, like I just said, I will put on a patch every single morning to deal with my workplace because it could undo me. I can live very close to the edges emotionally. But I was home on a Saturday and I thought, I'm home. And I just didn't put a fresh one on, and I'm partway through the day. And I just thought, why do we do this? Why do we only do things to handle the intensity and not allow peace? And so I think that it's really, the invitation is for your friends, but also in your own sharing. How often when you're sharing, even if you're not sharing about the peace patch, are you carrying your own anxiety, your own people pleasing, your own things? And people pick up on those things. Like there really are some fascinating things that we're learning from Dr. Vicky Smith and others that are just really about how foundational and how overarching peace really is in the midst of it. But so my own story, to just kind of jump to that for a little bit, was so peace. I knew I wanted to try the peace patch. I could tell that. But peace has also been a practice in my life. Like I choose peace. I have chosen, and I choose it. Again, I said I have lots of opportunities to practice, but I choose it. That's part of who I am. But that's not always easy. So when I first started trying the peace patch, and when I had my brain mapping done, it actually, you can probably tell by the speed I'm talking right now after a long day, is that my brain moves quite quickly, almost frighteningly quickly, sometimes for myself. And one of the things that I've come to recognize in putting on the peace patch, and I'm sure some of you experienced of this too, is that anxiety is exhausting. Like coming out of the past 2 years even, but regardless, anxiety is exhausting, but it's not always optional, right? Sometimes it's just their worry. And I felt like when I said this, I want to share this to someone. Anxiety isn't always optional. Worry is. We can shame ourselves for our anxiety. The anxiety is a different space than worry. Worry is what we deal with, the anxiety that comes. So what if we can do something to help address the physiological, the anxiety, so that then we can deal with the worry that is much more choice based. So the sleeve was a game changer for me. I've been experimenting with each of them. I don't want to forget my practical piece, but I've been going fast, but I will share my story. So anxiety has been a whole thing, but then when I started wearing the peace patch, to give you any kind of picture of how my brain works, is if you can imagine a flow chart. I've said peace does this. Peace brings settling to me, not just a calm, but a settling. So if you can visually create a flow chart over my head, or imagine over your head, and think about it 8 layers deep, like if there's A, there's B, C, D, F, G. Putting on the peace patch literally was this slowing, positive kind of slowing that brought it down to about 3 layers deep, right? So, and that is the thing that is the busy thinking that is not anxiety, but it is problem solving and always on the go. So I actually texted. So one of the things on a practical level, and this, thank you, jumping back to within it, a practical level is put on the peace patch, find a peace patch partner. So whether it's you, whether you're encouraging a customer, come on, do it in partners. Because what did Candy say? New things might not be safe. Well, if it's not feeling safe, this is a good place to bring a Peace Patch partner. It's a good place to invite your customer to use the brand champion, to bring someone alongside. Give this to me for a month. Let's do this for 2 months. Let's get through Christmas was kind of part of Candy's first thing. But the doing it together, and then the practical piece, which is who these ladies were, is find that Peace Patch buddy, partner, to be messaging to. Like our texts are just my tracking record, because I don't even have time to go home and journal. But the stories and the pieces that come. So when I started, so it was one thing to see that mental slowing happening. That was really significant for me. Dr. Sill gave me a great example one time. She says, like, sometimes you're walking, it's like you come to an intersection if you're dealing with anxiety or just high activity in your brain. And most people look left and right when they come to a stoplight to make sure that they're safe. But some people are like watching for, snipers on the roof and helicopters coming in and a wolf walking down I am that. I am the wolf walking down the street, right? So if you can imagine that intensity, what I found, I thought of that analogy again when I had the Peace Patch on, because I thought, you know what? That's not a wolf. That's a German Shepherd on the leash going for a walk with its owner, right? So we can hyper overdrive. So how do we begin to cope with our life, with our family conversations? Peace is still a choice. Candy had those peace moments in there. And I had a very specific situation where the Peace Patch was so different in a boundary setting situation that had to happen. But the emotional and the emotional and the mental have been significant. But what was really significant, for me, because I loved the sleeve so much, I felt the calming with the sleeve, was the marked improvement physiologically. So I actually feel my heart rate slower. I said I have a lifting of muscular tension I didn't even know that I had, including ones I did. So I have recognized that I carry tension across here. I didn't even know that. I knew I carried it here. I know I carry it down my back. But when I started wearing the Peace Patch, it was like something opened across here too. So that calming of my heart rate, the lifting of that tension, and believe it or not, from the speed that I'm speaking, I actually speak slower in stressful situations. So I'm talking quickly, perhaps. So I always say you can wave your hand, but to slow me down. But that physiological change, along with the rest of it, it has been amazing. And I think my first text was to Candy, honestly, was, do people actually feel like this? Like, is this actually a thing? And so I recognize that I'm high sensory. I'm very high sensory. So when I see the conversations about, especially kids that are high sensory and sounds or those things, that calming, that's where the Peace Patch comes into it for me, dealing with those stimulus that are around me. I love the flow. The flow is a game changer as well. But that dealing with the external, I used to say with the sleeve, I drive safer. I think clearer and I like people more. Well, the Peace Patch is probably the like people more. And frankly, customers are probably thankful for that. So yeah, the Peace Patch, the invitation to experience and find a partner and build your business from a place of peace. Because I loved coming into this company. I love the science. I love the stories. But the selling point was the authenticity. And there's lots of ways to build this business. But if you are not building it from a place of peace, whatever that means in your world, then that will come across. And like Candy said, our world needs more peace than we've got. So little piece of plastic. It's one piece of peace, but it's a really pretty important one in my opinion. So there you go. And I'm unmuted. So now you can mute me again. So I'll stop talking.
The reality is we have to pause and consider the undercurrent of the impact of stress in our lives, because it eats away at our health and wellness. We're full of cortisol when we're stressed, and it like you said, Candy, impacts our thinking, our cognition, and our overall physical well-being. Our guts aren't healthy if we're in chronic stress. And if we can alleviate some of that load with this beautiful little blue piece of plastic, then I'm all in, because I'm nicer to be around with the Peace Patch. And Frank, go ahead.
Sorry, Lori, sorry about that. You know what I think is really interesting about the Peace Patch and stress is, and for me personally, like, I don't really know how to measure stress. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that stress is there, but I don't know whether my stress load is high or low, because I really don't really know how to determine what is stressful and what is not stressful. So I think what's really interesting, and it's kind of like our technology, in a broader scope, in an umbrella, is that everybody thinks they're at their best in their life, physically and mentally, because they've either been told that that's the way you're going to be at that age, or, this is what you're going to deal with as you get older, or whatever. And they don't know until they try something that's in our scope of technologies. And so the same thing with stress for me, and I'm going to jump on this Peace Project. I got to tell you, I haven't worn the Peace Patch, but it's one that is lined up because my package just arrived today. So I will be jumping on the Peace Patch project for 30 days. But I want to see if I'm a calmer person. I want to see if I'm, able to deal with situations that come up that you don't realize are even stressful. Like that person cutting you off, instead of, yelling at them or thinking you want to kill them, do you wish them a nice day? You know what I mean? Do you say, thanks for cutting me off? That was really enjoyable, or something like, so I think with our technology, and I invite everybody to join us, to join the women on this, because I think it's a great initiative. I think it's a great thing to be able to identify, what levels of stress we're at, because now we can compare it. If we take those 30 days, and if you don't have time to necessarily journal, talk to a friend, as Tracy said, have a teammate, have a friend that says, let's do this together and see if we both feel that we're better in the world. And I think that it's certainly true, and I believe it as just straight logic, that I think people are way more effective and way more enjoyable to be around when they're on a holiday in Barbados or in the Dominican or on the beach than they are if they're in a traffic jam, on the 400 series highways. So I think it just makes sense to say, hey, let's try this and see whether we can put ourselves on the beach, even if we're in the traffic jam. Do you know what I mean? And so consequently, we might be more effective at how we are around people, and be able to get that person saying, why is he so excited? Why is he so happy? Why does nothing seem to fizz him or whatever? And so I tip my hat to you ladies for, putting this together. You guys have done this call from time immemorial, and you guys are absolutely incredible. And I thank you for it tonight.
Well, back at you, brother. And we're #BetterTogether. So us girls get together and we just have a coffee talk. Credit to Krista Taylor for challenging us to do this back in the day. Krista's life has taken her in a little bit of a different direction, but we're still in contact. And there's lots of ways to come at this. And Tracy, really appreciate you bringing the business component to it, because it has to be practical. It can't be kumbaya all the time. But Candy's suggestion that we find that pause before we react viscerally, it's better for us. It's better for the people around us. And I'm talking mentally and physiologically, and emotionally. And it will afford growth rather than, that place of resistance, I'll say. So Terry, Paul, appreciate it. Hey, Paul, what do you think? What do you think about this old Peace Patch project?
Yeah, no, I am all on board because I'm in the same boat. Like Terry was saying, I don't know how to measure. Like, I know I got a ton going on, but I don't know. You just sometimes think, well, I don't really need that patch. Just, I got my socks on, I got my Defend on, but I kind of look back at Defend and I had my same reservations, and I was like, well, wait a second, Jay, you trust him. All the other ones work, but until I saw those live blood analysis and things like that, it really put it in perspective. Like, oh my God, I need to have this on every day. Like what I just witnessed happened. I think it was like 2.5 hours later, we pricked the people's fingers, then they wore the Defend patch. Then we saw the crazy difference. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to have that on every day. That's like a staple. Where the Peace one, I think back to the printing days, and I think Terry would have just paid for my subscription for it. If it actually did calm me down, because I can snap and go offside and all that stuff. And, I can get out of, I can, you yell at your girls or something because they did something wrong and you feel bad because you did. And it's like, hey, yeah, why don't I give this a 30-day go and see how, and those that are going to observe me and say, hey, you've been pretty, what's going on?
Mellow,
Hoops
mellow.
or do you got a patch on, So no, I agree. I'm on board, and we do appreciate you guys, and thanks for jumping on here. And when other people come on and we're at a round table like this, just hearing all your guys' experiences is what's making me say, hey, I should be trying that. And that's really what this business is all about, and how it's built is I trust you guys. So obviously I'm going to like experiment and see and do it with you guys as well. So
can I just say that's really, really valuable, like hearing both of you guys, because we need to evaluate how we have or lack peace. And quite frankly, men and women may come at that differently, right? Like the observations, to you guys, but to anyone, like observe. I see Norman there too. I don't know, Norman, you're gonna put on a patch, but observe, right? Because we all handle stress. We all handle stress in different ways. And so that's the whole heart behind Candy's piece, is gather those perspectives, gather what other people are saying, but it won't always look like it looks like for me. But as you begin to name it for you, Paul or Terry or whoever, then it helps someone else name it. And honestly, as a mother of boys, this is an important piece. This is an important piece of the puzzle for our young men too. We live in a stressful world, and men's mental health is as challenged and not always as honored as others. And I think that's really, really valuable. So
yeah, that's a great point, Tracy. And I think the biggest thing is with men, men are different than you. You ladies are so nurturing and so caring, and guys don't want to ever show weakness a lot of times, right? They don't want to show that they're coming from a position of vulnerability. A lot of times, I know I've reacted before, and I'm like, the only reason I react that way is because I'm so freaking stressed out. And I'm thinking, well, if I wasn't that stressed out, I wouldn't react that way. And, I've always said you get more with honey than you do with vinegar. And so if we could all get to the place where we're honey as opposed to vinegar, then I think all of us will be in a better place for sure. I see Shanda has her hand up, Paul. Shanda Whitefoot.
You should get a request to unmute yourself.
There you go. She's on. Yeah. Hi, Chanda.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. I have been part of the Peace Project, and I was one who I'm wearing all the other patches, so I didn't think so much to wear that because I had my sleeve. I will just say it has brought the sleeve to a whole new level. And we can't always get everyone around us to put on a patch on. And I've noticed, getting snapped at by other people, I then, instead of just shutting down or snapping back, I can be the sound of reason to say, hey, we didn't need to say it that way. So I've been able to calm my husband down to not be such an a-hole. And then I don't get so upset with my children when they haven't listened for the 600th time. Life is too short and we don't get those moments back.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can apologize, but if we can just put on a patch and avoid the situation, it's so much easier. And another area of my life, it helped me be calm when my mom had to have heart surgery and things weren't happening how we wanted them to. And so it has made a huge difference in ways that I never even thought about, because when I thought about stress, I wasn't thinking about it like that because I was just handling it like what Candy said. And it has been a huge eye opener. And the sleeve is amazing. It's amazing, but this is definitely a whole new level. And if you're a crabby butt sometimes, you really want to wear this patch. Just try it. It's worth it. It's a game changer.
It is. It is. Terry, I'd just like to mention to you, I fully understand and appreciate, as the mom of boys and the wife of a husband who only just in the recent years learned how to feel his feelings. And boy, did that one turn around on me in a big way when he was having a moment, and I'm going, why do you have to be like that? He said, I thought you wanted me to feel my feelings. And I thought, oh man, what have I started here? Yes, dear, I do. I want you to feel your feelings, because we need to feel them, but we don't need them to control us in a way that is will delete from our life. So when you say, Terry, that you can't really assess your stress, you're not sure, like you just handle it. And I see what happens in men who do this, and your shoulders get heavy and they start to ache. And I can see the physical signs of the stress in the men who are dealing with so much and not just sure quite what to do with it. But I can tell you that if you can't see it, I know the people who love and care about you can. So that's why I always encourage people, and this is harder for men to do, but it can be done. We want, this was almost like, let's get this so we can get to our guys, because we want you as well as you can possibly be. And I can guarantee you that when people come around to deal with you on a business level, if you're the happy, as you say, Terry, the guy with honey, people want to hang around that kind of energy. They're just drawn to you. If you're crabby and short and abrupt and brusque, you guys have all had the boss, and maybe you've been the boss that walks in the door and the whole office recognizes he's in a mood. Like, what do? You scatter. How productive and how effective can our teams be if we're that person? So, it's just like, guys, we're so very glad to have you aboard, and you're going to reach people that we wouldn't have been able to. And this is definitely a team effort. So thank you all for listening and being here.
Yes, and thank you so much, guys. Wow, very powerful call. Make sure that we, share this with our teams. This is super important. Like you say, plus, remember, guys, you can't go out and sell something that you haven't used and tested at the end of the day either. How could you, you're not going to come out as genuine, like, oh yeah, that piece patch is, yeah, it's great. They're going to look great and see right through that. So be genuine, experience it, maybe say, look, I'm not that stressed and I used it. I'm not really sure, but hey, why don't you try it? I mean, honesty is better than, just pretending that everything works. And we know it doesn't work for everybody. And, well, we know certain things, but they're hard to explain sometimes, like with the balance and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, in keeping with the hour too, guys, just, thanks for coming here every week. We're building. We got super exciting things coming. We got the event in January. That's just basically going to be the launch pad for other events across North America and the UK, hopefully. And then, we have just so much potential. Each patch could be $1 million business. So we have a lot of work to do, and, coming here each week is beneficial. We're going to make it exciting and different and not the same old thing. And, I'm seeing that now. And it's exciting for when you're doing the calls because, you know, it's something new and different. And, you know, yeah, we have to have duplication, but at the end of the day, we need this humanity and realism to be, you know, injected and not taken away. It's not just about the dollar bill. The dollar bills always follow. So we just have to do our job of sharing, and the rest will follow behind. I absolutely guarantee that. So
yeah, and I think it's important, Paul, that everybody follows the you plus three, them plus three from the business perspective. I mean, it's a very, very basic, simple building block. And we got some things coming up that Paul and I are working on to make it really easy to actually show you the dollar amounts for when you build U plus three and you get those three and help them get their three, show you the exact dollar amount. And so, and your bonuses and anything that you can go after, we're going to have that document for you. We're working hard on making sure the numbers are correct. And it's a simple building block. We want everybody to be able to just duplicate and have your teams. And really, when you're building a distribution company, and that's what we're building, each and every one of us is building a distribution company of passion, of hope, of joy through our technology. It's duplication, and it's thousands and thousands of teammates and customers all utilizing our products every month. Whether you're switching up the patches, and if you do that and duplicate it through the simple building block of you plus three, them plus three, and you duplicate that and get your teams duplicating, you will hit numbers that you didn't even think you was possible. So we will have that. We're working hard for you guys as well behind the scenes to come out with some good stuff. That's going to be, there's some exciting things coming at the event in January. And if any of you on this call are in an area that you can't make it to the event, we understand sometimes it's too far to drive and so on. But if you want to hold an event in your area, I know for a fact that you get 100 to 200 people in a room, we can help you with it. I know that Jay and the people he wants there will show up and present and help you build and create a successful event for sure. So take it away, Paul.
Yeah, and I just wanted to update. I had made a post about the event saying that it was gold, silver, and bronze packs being given away at this event. It's actually super patch business builder kits that will be given away. So it's not a level, it's like, here's your kit kind of thing. So that's awesome to know that that's what we just sort of had a misunderstanding there. So I just wanted to clarify that. But no, other than that, again, thanks everybody for showing up tonight, and I'll try to unmute everybody here.
Oh, and one more thing. Next week, yeah. I'm sure some of you people on here are familiar with our first ever VoxxLife associate, the amazing and wonderful Kevin Duguay. Yeah. He's going to end our 2022 training off next week on the 19th, and he will bring you some nuggets that will be awesome for sharing this technology next week. So I hope you can all get on the call. Invite your friends. We're opening this call to friends, to people that are interested. And as Candy said, she had some friends on the call tonight and some interested people. So keep that in mind. We want to keep it open and show people the culture that we have here, show people the true joy that we all have in sharing and helping other people in our VoxxLife journeys. Now, super
everybody should have got a request to unmute themselves, I'm sure. So
thanks,
you,
girls.
Thank you.
Bye. Great job.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Candy.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Great discussion.
Good job,
Great
everybody.
discussion. You
That
bet.
was brilliant, girls. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Good night.
Right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.